Hi, welcome to a new episode of Sportsy Let's Talk Sports. Today we have with us Amit Gadkari, who is the founder of Nudge Consulting and Nudge Sports. Amit, who has spent over 27 years working in leadership positions across India and Middle East, has been a passionate athlete, having played at multiple age groups in cricket and badminton for Mumbai, and continue to play cricket actively even today. A reader, a blogger, a cyclist enthusiast, has a strong pulse on performance and development within the global sporting environment. Amit is one of the foremost personalities to highlight mental health issue among athletes. He is the CEO and founding trustee of Cricketers Foundation, India's pioneer sporting philanthropy and development trust. Amit initiated a mental health training and conditioning program for teenage Mumbai cricketers, both girls and boys. He drives this initiative with a leading sports psychology organization which works with elite athletes and who has represented India at Olympic in shooting, archery, wrestling, weightlifting, as well as Mumbai's domestic and international cricketers. The overwhelming response of this initiative got him to think about and start Nudge Sports. Nudge Sports is proud to have a panel of experienced sports and performance psychologists and counseling psychologists who have worked with age-level athletes across schools, colleges, and universities, as well as elite national and international athletes, including Olympians, Paralympians. With qualification on leading universities across India, UK, Canada, and US in clinical psychology, applied psychology, sports and exercise psychology, and behavioral neuroscience, who form the backbone of Nudge. Nudge brings a strong work ethics and experience of having worked with more than 10,000 athletes across 100 different sports. Amit also has the input of an advisory panel consisting of sports personalities, corporate leaders, and social change agents. So please welcome Amit Gadkari, who is giving a nudge to athlete journey. Hey Amit, great to have you on Sportsy Let's Talk Sports.
Thanks, Sid. Looking forward.
And honestly, I'm also looking forward to this chat. It's a journey that we want to understand from you. While we obviously will talk a lot about Nudge Consulting and Nudge Sport, that's your baby, and the way you have come into sports industry and into sports psychology, which is one of the most important field now. And it's with the episodes of we hear from Simone Biles or the way Abhinav Bindra talks about. I think the sports psychology is the important factor in all these things. So we'll be talking about that.
Sure.
But just before that, I just wanted for our viewers and listeners, we have Amit Gadkari, who has an amazing career across multiple leadership positions across corporates. And today he's going to talk about his company, Nudge Consulting or Nudge Sports, about how he's giving a nudge to athlete journey. So Amit, it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Sid. Happy to share whatever I'm working on with the viewers.
Yeah. So Amit, the first thing first, how has that journey been? It's 27, 28 years of working across India and Middle East. What has that journey been?
So, I had a typical, fairly typical life for anyone who grew up in the 70s and played multiple sports in the 80s. So I started off playing badminton, table tennis, football, cricket, whatever kids got the opportunity to play. And eventually I settled on cricket, played a bit of cricket, played for Mumbai under 15, under 19. And then I had my corporate life after MBA. In fact, my first company where I worked, SEAT, that it kind of immediately gave me that exposure to how a corporate works with sports, because SEAT, this was in 95, 96, that SEAT started with the SEAT cricket rating. And I was the only one in the management and the marketing team who had played a bit of cricket. So my MD said that, you need to look after people like Wasim Akram, Ian Chappell, Brian Lara, who were invitees for the event. And that's how I, kind of understood how the corporates work with various sporting entities. So that was my first exposure. Spent almost 27 years shuttling between Middle East and India in the corporate world. But always at the back of my mind said I wanted to set up my own venture, and that venture had to be around sport, not necessarily cricket, had to be around sport. So in fact, in a way, 3 years back was when I got my first nudge by setting up a foundation called Cricketers Foundation. And the foundation, some of the work that we did with the foundation, one of that was offering mental conditioning sessions for Mumbai's under 16, under 19 boys and girls cricketers, the probables. And that is how the journey started. And eventually, beginning of 2021 is when I said, had enough of the corporate world, and let me start something and focus on the mental side of sports.
Interesting. I think that's where that's what a sportsman is all about, right? You can't keep quiet, and you want to get into the hardcore sports somewhere or the other. Is the journey, and I can very well feel your journey. The way I have also conducted the same thing. It's like coming into the sports through various medium. The important part here I just want to talk about is the area that you picked up, which is psychology, or the mental toughness or mental conditioning. And it is not about being a psychiatrist or psychologist yourself, giving those one-to-one sessions. You actually start taking together as an entity which is doing at the bigger level, and making sure that you are touching every aspect of athlete journey, irrespective of what athlete come from. It could be para athlete, it could be normal athlete, it could be a special athlete, or it could be anything. It's like, or from the kids who want to become athletes, or the parents, sports parenting, where how to deal with the kids being that. So all these things come together. I think it is what the nudge sports and nudge consulting for you. So what actually got you the CIAT is fine, and working with the amazing cricketers is the different journey, but what was the biggest pull that you had towards the mental conditioning side of it?
So, a couple of things. I think one of the things that one started hearing about people having mental health issues, people saying that, oh, if he has a mental health, he's not mentally strong, be it any sport. And I said that why? At the end of the day, it's how you are able to handle yourself mentally, or mental training. That is what defines whether you win a medal or you don't win a medal, whether you win or whether you lose. And I started studying the market. As you know, sports is built on 4 pillars. One is your skill and development, your technical aspects of the game, whether it is cricket, football, badminton, or any sport. The second is the fitness side of the sports, and then you have nutrition. These 3 elements in India are fairly well developed. Now India has the necessary infrastructure. It's not just cricket. India is not anymore a cricket-centric nation. We are strong in so many other sports: badminton, hockey, athletics, track and field, wrestling, shooting, archery. And infrastructure is developed along with this, with a lot of private and public initiative. So as far as infrastructure, maybe we need a lot more of such infrastructure, but there is good infrastructure across the country. Second is the culture of fitness, giving the importance to fitness. That has also evolved significantly. You see the Indian hockey team. Forget about the cricket team. The cricket team has been fit, but you look at the Indian hockey team, the badminton players, all of them, they're all fit. They're all as fit as any international athlete. Nutrition has also got its due importance. But somewhere people never gave the necessary importance to the mental side of the game. People. The idea for Nut Sports, I mean, the reason why I launched Nut Sports was because I wanted to make mental training an integral part of the overall training program for the athlete. It's like getting up in the morning. Why do you get up in the morning and go for a long run? Because you want to build your endurance. Why do you go to the gym and work out at the gym? Because you want to build different muscles. So why not invest a certain amount of time and training in building the muscles that really make the important, and those that's right between the 2 years. So that was the main idea behind Nut Sports. And as you rightly said, I'm not a sports psychologist, but I can play the role of a facilitator. I can bring all the sports psychologists who are trained, who are educated, who have the experience, not just from India, but also from other countries like UK, South Africa, Australia. And that's what Nut Sports is doing. We are bringing in the community of sports psychologists, and we are offering mental training sessions not just to elite athletes and teams, but also to age level sportsmen and sportswomen. Right from the age of 8 onwards, we conduct mental training sessions, and that's something which eventually, I know it's early days, but eventually will help the sporting community in the country.
I think for sure, and I think I like the name also, is that like giving a nudge towards
Absolutely.
so it's a nudge that you can give to any direction and make sure that you give them that to basically cross the barrier or go across the line. I think that is something that we get to hear, that a lot of people, like Sachin Tendulkar spoke about anxiety in the and I'm sure that being from Mumbai cricket, you know that those stories are while growing up as well. But along with him, honestly speaking, along with him. But those are the things that we didn't know while Sachin was playing. But he spoke about it recently about, yeah, I had sleepless nights before 2003 World Cup final, or most of the times in my career, if I'm not out at the end of the day, that night used to be the one of the horrible nights that he used to have, or Virat opening it about it, yes. Or I think every athlete. It actually became big for the world stage when Simone Biles talk about it. She withdrew from the team event, or Naomi Osaka spoke about it. Those become the international stage. But for India to take it seriously and talk about it, this is not an issue. This is just a thing that everybody needs it for in their growing days. I think a lot of people have played a good role in this. So do you think this is something that we miss out as a holistic development of an athlete while growing up? And according to you, what is the holistic development of an athlete?
Absolutely. I was reading somewhere, Sid, Vinesh Phogat and Sakshi Malik. After Sakshi Malik won her the medal, I think she won bronze, if I'm not wrong, in the Olympics. And she came back and she was struggling to meet the expectations. Even and someone like Vinesh Phogat, and I'm giving a few names because they have spoken about that. It's out in the public. They all said that we needed help. We needed a psychologist. We needed a sports psychologist to guide us, to help us. But they said that if we use the word mental or a sports psychologist, our career is finished. So that anxiety which even these achievers had, kind of put pressure on them. They wanted help, but they could not seek the kind of help that they wanted. Going back to holistic development of an athlete, I think mental conditioning is just one part of it. If you look at the mission of Nut Sports, our mission clearly states that we strive to build a strong sporting community by nudging the athlete to become not just a better player, but a stronger and a socially conscious individual. What happens typically when an athlete is growing, that they're so focused on what they're doing that they do not dwell so much into the history. They forget about the history that their sport has gone through it. For most of the younger athletes now, whether it's cricketers or anyone, for them history starts from 2003, 2004. They don't know what history is, what the country has gone through since its independence, our Olympic hockey stories. So we try to kind of educate the kids into kind of building that kind of respect and aura around the history of the game. And that is very important, because when you respect what your predecessors have achieved, that's when you feel that yes, we have a role model. If those guys with so much of so limited resources and absolutely no infrastructure could do what they could do, we are in a much better position. So we should be able to do 10 times better than what they are able to do. So I think that is another element that we at Nut Sports try to focus on.
So I think this is so rightly said about the holistic development and the way nudge is playing the role. But there are a lot of people, the coaches or even the athlete, they usually get hooked to one particular coach, and nudge is giving a bouquet of services, similar space but bouquet of services. So how does an athlete decide that who is the right mental conditioning coach for me, or who is the one who probably can take? Is it the comfort level only, that the athlete usually have, or it is the bond that they start developing, or it is the technicality of the coach that actually helps?
So frankly, Sid, it's a tough one. And what we try to do at Nut Sports is that we look at the profile of the athlete, the sport that the athlete is involved in, the age that the athlete is in, the socio economic demographic that the athlete comes from, and we try to align the sports psychologist with the same profile. So we try to do the best, because an athlete, as you rightly said, needs to feel uh, comfortable with a sports psychologist. Most of our sports psychologists, in fact, all of them have worked across different kinds of athletes, and that gives them the comfort. And so far, we have seen that the moment an athlete has someone to talk to, the sports psychologist is first a friend than more than anyone else, because the athlete is anyway involved with his or her technical coach. So that's a different thing. But secondly, it's what is more important is also that the technical coach, the parents, they are all aligned into the whole thing. They all understand that the sports psychologist is a part of the team, and they all need to work together. They all need to work in the same direction. So we also conduct a lot of education and awareness programs for coaches and parents, and kids who are at a younger age, who are in the age group of 8 to 12. Because statistics have shown that 75% of kids they give up sport by the time they turn 13. So clearly there is something that is happening in that age group, and one of the reasons why the kids stop playing the sport is because they just don't enjoy it anymore. So obviously the parent or the coach or someone is doing something which is harming the child's love for the game. So we all, one of the focus areas is education and awareness, and we have launched this program which is called PEP for Kids, which is Performance Enhancement Program for Kids, where we bring the parents, we bring the coaches, we bring all of them and tell them how sports psychology is going to help their child. The whys, the whats, because everyone has different preconceived notions about what a sports psychologist would do. So, we are at an early stage. So one of the responsibilities of Nut Sports is also to build awareness and educate the people.
Excellent. And I think you just ended your statement on a point which actually I wanted to take a hook on. And that is something that I want to talk about, is that how do you plan to make an impact at the biggest level? Because it's not only about elite, as you mentioned, it's about the participative people and everybody, that we to have a healthier mindset towards building the whole thing. So how do you think that actually the long term and the right impact can be made in the whole ecosystem using Nudge as a platform?
This morning, Sid, I was reading a very fascinating article on how Norway, with a population of 5.8 million, inculcates the habit of loving the sport that they play. It is a fascinating article. Norway has been, I wasn't aware of this fact. Apparently, the last two Winter Olympics, it's not the US or the Canada who are the medal toppers. It's been Norway who have been the medal toppers. And the reason why they have been able to do it is that they do not interfere in the child's sporting development till the child is 14, 15. They let the child play multiple sports. And on an average, a child in Norway plays anywhere between 5 to 6 sports till he or she is 15, 16. And the role of the coach is only to guide and mentor. That's exactly what we are trying to do at Nut Sports. We are there to guide and mentor. We are there to facilitate. So education, as I mentioned, is one way of facilitating this, making parents aware. And it's not just in the metro cities, because now, as you know, the talent is coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities. So we are reaching out to academies in these smaller towns and villages and speaking in their own language, whether it's Bengali or whether it's Kannada or Tamil or whichever language the athletes and the parents are comfortable in. And we are telling them that, firstly, enjoy the sport you're playing. Secondly, you while you're preparing yourself physically and technically with the sport, this is what sports psychology is going to do. So it's a larger picture that we are trying to give to the child, and at Nut Sports, we facilitate, we'll ensure that you get the best training as far as sports psychology is concerned, as far as even sports nutrition is concerned. And we, at the end of the day, our objective is only one, Sid, is to make mental training an integral part of the kids' overall training program. That's what we are here to do.
Yeah, I think, and that makes a lot of sense. But again, I always ask my favorite question to all the people working in Indian sports is about how do you build a culture of sports in India, or how do you actually what will give you satisfaction when you look at Indian sports ecosystem. But just to before entering that, you spoke about the tier 2, tier 3 places or the rural area where we are getting maximum talent, and urban have not given us the talent that we actually can be proud of. I think we need more talent from the places where they are privileged background. But I think the kids or the background which are more challenging, where the sports become the mechanism for them to prove or get a job or all those things. How do you deal with people? So people who come from this background vis-a-vis people come from the urban background. Everybody has their needs and want different.
Absolutely.
So, but finally the platform is same, which is sports. So how do you think this actually can help that when at one side people are fighting for roti kapda makan and one side people are fighting about internet and clean air and those kind of issues, but finally they are going to all compete at the Olympic level or the national level or Khelo
Right.
India, all those levels. How do you actually get people to become making sports as an equalizer?
So I think first of all, the awareness has really gone up. The kids know, their parents know that you don't need sport itself is a great career to build on. And I'm very happy to see that the infrastructure that the public and private enterprises have been setting up in the smaller towns and villages is phenomenal. So that part is being taken care of. So I would say half the job is done over there. Secondly, people know that you take up any sport, whether and luckily for us, the last Olympics has really benefited building the awareness and the importance of what sports can do to your career. So a child sitting somewhere in Haryana or someone in Orissa or someone in Assam knows that, hey, I enjoy boxing. There is this academy 20 kilometers away from where I am. Let me go there and let me take it up. And so I think we've crossed that first hurdle, which is very good. We have crossed that first hurdle that infrastructure is available. But as I said, given our population and the size of the country, we definitely need a lot more, and that's happening. What we need to now focus on is the softer skills. The softer skills of working towards your performance enhancement through your mental awareness and strengthening your mental training side. And I hope there, while Nut Sports is playing a role in this, there will be thousands more Nut Sports that crop up because our country can't just wait for one or two entrepreneurs to get into this area. We need a lot more. In fact, just to give you an aside on this, India still doesn't have a dedicated course in sports psychology. So a lot of sports psychologists that I work with, and most of them are girls, they would have played some sports themselves. They would have done their bachelor's or master's in clinical psychology or applied psychology. And then they go to UK, which has probably one of the best courses. And they do a 1-year course and come back. So I think there itself is a huge opportunity. This is going to be a big area in the future, but we need to churn out more and more qualified psychologists who can understand. They have the love for the game, but we need to give them the right education.
Perfect. And just on one part, which probably there are so many sports psychologists who are studying and want to make the careers. So how can they approach Nut Sports to become the part of your umbrella and start delivering, getting more and more clients or more visibility and also growth through the journey?
The community of sports psychologists in India is a fairly small and a well-knit community. So which makes the job at Nut Sports very easy, So we reach out to a few, and the word spreads, and that's what we have done so far. We started off with 4 or 5 sports psychologists on our panel, and now we have more than 50 sports psychologists,
Wow.
and I hope to reach about 100 by the middle of this year. It's a diverse group. So anywhere in India, and I'm also reaching out to sports psychologists in countries like South Africa, UK, Southeast Asia, where culturally they understand the mindset of an Indian athlete. So because there itself there is a strong Indian diaspora, and they would have worked with Indians over there. So that's how we are doing. So it's been easy so far, but I know it's not going to be easy as time progresses. And but let's hope for the best.
And honestly, let's hope for the best, and we need more and more people like you to get these communities. I think the vertical, more than horizontal, more of vertical communities together to make it happen. And just on the closing note, one last question: what's the Nut story going to look like going forward?
Well, as I want to repeat the vision for Nut Sports, where we want to enable sporting excellence and building a champion mindset through our programs and interactions. So I think it's the champion mindset that we are looking at, and I just hope that our programs, our interactions, the various activities that Nut Sports wants to build on helps them. We are also, I don't want to jump the gun, but we are also looking at a tech platform where we want to offer a multilingual app for someone sitting anywhere in India who can reach out to a sports psychologist, or who can reach out to the various programs and techniques that a sports psychologist can offer. So, I don't want to, because I know that you cannot just wait on a person-to-person interaction. We have reached a stage where technology can really help reach every corner of the country, and that's the next big story for Nut Sports. Hopefully, in the second half of this year, we'll have a tech platform which will help reach a larger audience. Because at the end of the day, Sid, one needs to reach out to more and more athletes. That's the ultimate objective.
Yeah, and I think best wishes for that. I think it's going to be really amazing because finally you're giving a nudge at the right place, and I think you got a nudge at the right time to start nudge. I think it's a great story, and more power to you and the whole community about making a better tomorrow for India, Indian sports, Indian athlete, parenting, all the aspects. So thank you for coming on a chat, Amit, and looking forward to more and more chat with you on this platform.
Thank you, Sid. And I think what you are doing through Sportsy, and it's again awareness, right? You're sharing, you're bringing more and more people on a larger platform where they can share their stories, and much appreciate today's opportunity. And I hope through this chat we've been able to reach out to a lot more athletes.
Yes, let's try to give a nudge together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day, and take care. Stay safe.
You too, sir. Thanks.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel, Sportsy Says, and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle, Sportsy Says, across all the social media platforms and podcasts.